Hi guys, I'm re-recording my intro, but my name is Hannah and I've created a project called Glitch as a System. Woo! So just for some context, I guess, my project is inspired. It's like kind of based off of this artist named Rosa Menkwin, and she is like a glitch artist as well as like a resolution theorist. She makes some really captivating and cool projects, like kind of revolved around the idea of glitch, and just glitch is a big part of like her artistic practice. And so I kind of wanted to pay homage to that, I guess, like through TD and add some like interactivity through hand gestures via MediaPipe, which is developed by my professor Torin Blankensmith. Woohoo! But yeah, and to facilitate my process, I initially started off by referencing tutorials by the YouTuber Panic and Tayo and Kelly. So shout out to them. I will link both of their tutorials in the description down below. I promise I won't forget. I'll show you guys like the full work that I created and then like the small chunk that'll be covered in this tutorial. Woohoo! Also, I was like looking back at the initial video, like the tutorial process I made, but I didn't realize that like the part with the recording software's like toggle was like on the screen. I forgot to like hide it or push it away. So my bad. It doesn't really get in the way of like the information though, so you'll still be able to follow along, I hope. But yeah, just I apologize. Oopsie.
All right, so anyways, after that little intro I have going on, um, let's get to the good stuff and start making. So, I mean, this is like all my work that I had, but let me just delete it real quick. Heartbreaking a bit, but gotta do what we gotta do. But she's gone now. This first chunk will be sort of importing MediaPipe, specifically the hand tracking, so that we can use our hands to sort of control the graphics and make it glitchy. So first, so if you haven't already downloaded the MediaPipe um, stuff, I'll link the GitHub, so like to where you can download it. Shout out to Torin, my professor, created it with his collaborator, and it's wonderful. But yeah, there's a GitHub link where you can access it, and I'll link that in the description as well. But anywho, I already have it downloaded, so I'm gonna go drag that into our file really quickly. Oopsie. So we want to first import the MediaPipe talks. There we go. And then we also want to import or drag in the hand tracking talks. So now we have these two talks sort of imported into our file. And so let me like zoom in real quick. I like cannot see, but you see it like tracks everything. Yeah, great stuff. So if you see on the side, we have all like the the parameters. It's like it has all like the information like tracking different stuff, and we can toggle them on and off. And because for this project we're only going to be using the hand tracking portion, I'm gonna turn everything else off so that like our computer doesn't like blow up, and also it'll help things run more smoothly if less things are sort of operating. You know, our computer needs a bit of a break. Computers perhaps have feelings too and stress. But yes, anyways, enough of that. And also like for cameras, I'm just using the FaceTime camera because it's a part of my computer. But if you have an external webcam or software you want to use, feel free to. But yeah, I won't judge. But yeah, we're gonna turn off faces, facial landmarks, poses, objects, images, them. Yeah. And then so only thing you want turned on is the detect hands. And so now you can see it's following the metrics. Isn't that cool? But anyways, okay, so when you like kind of like hover your mouse over these different like mouths, I guess. I don't even think that's what it's called, but we're gonna call it that for now. It has like these little sort of like captions like explaining like what each mouth like corresponds to. So we have like all these stuff, all this good stuff, and so the mouth that we kind of want to pull from to create a node is the hands one. Where is this? Where are you? Okay, you see output to hands. Okay, so you want to bring that over to the hand tracking talks that we imported. And now, as you can see, you see, we drag this node from the hand mouth to this hand tracking talks. And so now, like, you can see, look how cute. Let me circle my hand. Bottom. Okay, and now that we have our hand tracking talks kind of set up, now we want to create a null chop so that we can list out all the different like parameters within the hand tracking talks that we can sort of target within our other operators so that we can have more customization, which I will like show you guys as we go along this process. But for now, let's set up our helpers. So you hover over the mouse, there's one, where is it? Okay, yeah, output 3, chop the helpers. So the thing we're going to target is called the helpers. And so let's drag this out. And while you're dragging, you can press tab to sort of open up this like operator table. And then we're going to get a null. And if you zoom really closely, as I'm doing, you can see everything is sort of listed. And so when I like sort of move my hand, these things get tracked, and it's like really cool. So this is what we're going to use to target specific elements within the project as we go further along, and you guys will see. But anyways, okay, so for this project, I want to target specifically I want to use the midpoint distance values as well as the hand distance values to sort of drive the interactivity and like glitchiness of my project. And so let's start with targeting the midpoint distance. And so to start that off, because there's so many like different parameters, we gotta like kind of hone in on one, right? So let's drag this out, tab, let's choose a select chop so we can select the specific, or yeah, the value we want, I guess. Where is it? Select. You can also search it in the bar, but I like to look around to the game. But anyways, so now that we have here, the way we can specifically target or chop or whatever is you can go to channel names, click this like arrow triangle, side triangle, and then you have all the options. And so I just want to target the distance. So I'm going to do H1 pinch midpoint distance. And so now you can see we have selected just that value. And so everything else is just like whatever. It's like gone. So we can only focus on this. So it'll make things more smooth. And also we're going to be rearranging the values to fit the parameters of the thing I want to, of the operator I want to target. Okay, so yeah, I want to use the pinch distance of this hand one to target the period of the ramp that we're going to be including later. So get that started. Let's now get a math chop in here so that we can rearrange the values so that it'll fit the parameters of the period better. Because the values right now for the pinch distance is quite low, so I feel like when we put it into the ramp, nothing much will change, especially in the period. So let's go to the range tab over here, and okay, so it like starts off at like 0, right, when there's nothing there, but then when we extend our hand, it's like 0.8, 0.7. So I mean, we could do 0.7, but for my original file, I did 1, so we're just gonna leave it as 1. And then for the ramp, like the maximum value is 10, I believe, and so we're gonna make the maximum value 10 instead of 1. So now you can see our range of numbers has expanded, so we can have more variability. Okay. And then lastly, we're gonna add a note to this just to keep things like simple, and it's also just best practice. So yeah. And then now we're gonna target the second value that we want to remap the coordinates for. Okay, yeah. So I got the second one set up now. And also forgot to mention for the second one, we're going to target a transform tab, which I'll show later. But you'll see where the magic happens. We need a null, just like the first one. Oh, and something crucial that I forgot to add that I will do now. Actually, I don't know if it's crucial, but it's good practice to do so. But we want to add a null top at this bottom mouth. You can see it says top video. And so we can use this null as our video base to sort of apply our glitch effects upon. So go do that. All right, so now we got our hand tracking stuff kind of set up that we will kind of refer to soon. And now we can start on chunk one, which is the initial glitch effect of like the lines that you saw. But yes, let's go start. Okay, so first we're gonna include a fit top. I'm gonna search it up. Fit, and then we're gonna just so we can like sort of rearrange the resolution to make it like clear, just best practice too as well. Parent panel size, the use, and now we're gonna do a 32-bit float RGBA, also the use. That's just my standard, what I've been taught, and so that's what I'm gonna do for this video as well. Okay, now let's start getting real fun and let's add a noise. Oh, noise, 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 where are you? Oh, I'm going into my principles and just searching stuff up now. But yes. So yeah, we have our noise, looking cute, and we can start like playing around. So let's start with the seed. Ooh. So that's like what happens when you like toggle with the seed, and we're gonna keep the type simplex 3D. Okay, is this one? Let's just do something like that. Sounds good. That seems fine. And let's also play around with the period. These are like the two things I just really love playing around with. So that kind of zooms in and out of the noise. Let's just leave it there. And then, ooh, okay, maybe not. I don't want to play with that. That seems fine. Something like that. And let's turn off monochrome. So it's like all colorful and cute and extra glitchy, I guess. Well, not glitchy, but like I feel like a lot of glitch has like this kind of rainbow RGB effect. So let's just do that. And oh, I forgot to mention, we are actually going to toggle one more of the hand tracking parameters, but we don't need to map it this time around. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go straight to this initial like null with all of our helper stuff. Okay, actually hold on. And I want the second hand midpoint distance, like because I want to be able to toggle with both hands. So I'm going to target the second hand to sort of use the second hand to sort of target our offset, so it can like just like fade in and out and brightness. It'll be pretty cool. So to do that, if you can see, there's this little like kind of star emblem, and that will toggle what's called the viewer active. So let's press this. See, some sort of arrow, so you can select one of these parameters. Let's select H2 pinch mid dis no. Yeah. Pinch 2 H2 pinch midpoint distance. Click on this, drag it so it turns into that sort of side arrow. Just place it on top of this like offset. Boom. And then you use chop reference to sort of have the value of the second hand midpoint distance to target the offset. So take the values and apply it there. And sort of like change in real time in accordance to the distance of your hand. Anyways, see, so now like it will only work if there's two hands because it's a midpoint 2. But you see? Isn't that cool? Actually, yeah. This is my left. Okay. And I also wanted this to like kind of move on its own as well. Like have the noise just like be noisy and be all crazy. So I want to target the and so to kind of have it moving automatically, you can use this like Python expression called abs times seconds So it could be moving like woo. I don't really like that, so let's try the Y. No, I don't like that either. Hold on. Oh my. Okay, hold up. Okay, third time's the charm. Yo, this is what we need. This is what we need. And but this is a bit fast, so let's just like times it by 0.5 so that this is how we divide. Yeah. So this is like more like manageable, not too crazy, because it's gonna get even crazier from here on out. Okay, I forgot something crucial. I was looking at my initial file. I have another file with my actual project that I made, and we do have to do some work to make it more like lines, so it's more of that glitchy effect. So let's make this 0 because that's what we started with. Ooh, what the hell? Okay, anyways, but then what's really gonna change it is we gotta change the scale a little bit. Let's make the scale like 10. You see, now it's getting all zebra and liney. Isn't that cute? We're gonna make this 0 because yeah, makes it more clean and sharp. You see? And then the Z will just stay the same. So now this is the effect that we're looking for. Let's like sort of like assign some color gradients with ramp. So let's connect the ramp to this. All right, and then colors do we want? Click here to sort of like toggle with this ramp. Okay, so let's like I'm gonna add a color here. We raise this value so it's brighter. Oopsie. Let's make it red. Oh, that's pretty. That's cute. Okay, and then we're gonna take that last value, toggle that. Make it blue. Red and blue. Can't go wrong with those. Ooh, something like this. Look at this. Look at this, guys. So now we have something like this going on. Ooh, wait, let's try to add a green. And then you can add a new color by just like clicking on this little like initial like gradient block. And then, ooh, okay, okay. So this is what we have going on. Cute, cute, cute. And then let's change this type to vertical. This just looks the best. But yeah, but now here's where the fun part happens. So taking the first sort of remapped hand coordinate we did from MediaPipe, this one with the hand H1 pinch distance, we're gonna use this to sort of toggle with the period value of our ramp. Let me go to my ramp. Let me scoot on over to my null real quick. So, yeah. Turn the viewer active on, take this value, drag it, place it on top of the period, chop reference, and woo! So now, isn't this fun? Let's also toggle with like some of these like bottom parameters. So we're gonna do the extend left mirror, extend right same as left, and then the interpolate matches, ease in, ease out. Get that down, get that down. All right, and now let's add a comp so that we can sort of layer this with the fit. We can add some cool effects using the blend modes. It'll be really fun. Okay. Okay, so we have our comp, and now oh my god, let's drag a node from this fit to this comp, layer it. Okay. So now our operator's on multiply, but we don't want that, that's ugly. Okay, and then negate. Ooh, yes, this is beautiful. So glitchy, so whimsy. Love it. So now let's get a null out of this. Just so we have a new sort of like space where we can just like add some more stuff to this now that this initial layer is finished. And then so now, okay, so now what's really exciting is we're gonna add a cache top. And so the cache top is going to sort of take the initial position of our hands and just like our movement, like captured to the webcam, and it's gonna store it and it's created a bit of a visual lag, and so in turn that creates a sort of very like jittery, and you can create almost like trails in a way, so it'll be really fun, and I think it'll be so fun to add with this glitch effect, like as you saw in my initial video. And then we're connecting the cache to the null so that the null can be sort of like the space to store all this data from cache and then have like a clean output. You know what I mean? Yeah. So let's go do that. Let me take my null, put in my cache, gorgeous. Okay, so we have our cache, and then now we're gonna also have to transform to sort of just play around with like the positioning of our like line effect we made. Okay, tab. Let's get a transform going in there, and we're gonna translate this. I was looking at my other file. Let's translate it to 0.01. Let's see what happens. We're gonna make it a negative actually. So it goes the opposite direction. Okay, cute. Something like that. Let's also play around with the rotations ever so slightly. Okay, hold up. Let's just do 15. That's what I had. And now let's make another comp so that we can add more effects. Cool. Now connect this transform to a comp, and then I'm gonna use feed null2 as the other sort of like layer to be comped with the transform that we just made. Okay, now let's play around. Let's just do over. Okay, so now I'm gonna grab a select top, and then we're gonna reference our fit into our select. So we'll drag that over, resizing purposes, just for formatting.
Okay, so now that we have our select all settled, let's connect it to the over top. Okay. Over, where are you? Okay, we have our over top, and now what we want to do to get rid of this error, and also we're gonna connect, because we want to move this, our select, to our second source and not the first one, because we want the visual effect we have over in our comp2 to go over this fitted select. Okay, now we have that. Let me just show you what we have right here. Whoa, okay, so you see this going on, perfect. And now to make it really, really trippy and glitchy and just distorted in the most awesome way, we're gonna connect our over to our good old friend displace. So this is gonna like cause that warping. And now, because we need two sources for the displace in order for the images to be able to be warped, like because the displace takes an image, two images, and then distorts them together, you know, uses each other's inputs as the source for distortment. But anyways, enough of that. Let's connect our comp again to our displace. I forgot to show it, but now we have this sort of like crazy mess. Like, isn't this a lot of fun? Woo! And now we just want to connect this to a null just for best practices. And then this is only going to be the first part of like the overall project that I have. But yeah, but then we want to split to a null so that like when we combine this first chunk with the second chunk, it'll be just a lot easier to manage and just best practice. But since we're only going to cover this in this video, like this first chunk, we can honestly just like connect it to an out. And voila! Now here we have the first part, our lovely glitch effect. So yeah, and that's the end of the tutorial. I hope you guys had a good time watching. This is my first ever tutorial, so it is a bit messy. It is a bit just like all over the place, and I'm not the best teacher, I have to be honest. But anyways, I'll conclude it there. Catch you next time. But if you want to, you must subscribe and like. Actually, you don't have to like. Just subscribe if you want to be updated, and maybe leave a comment. Preferably no hate, please. You know, I'm a bit sensitive. Please protect my heart. But yes, anyways, ciao.